Center's podcast series. I'm your host, Kyle Glasgow, here with Lily joining us today. We really appreciate your time today.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you. I think today's topic is really exciting for us. I've been in the franchise business 10 years, the fitness business over 20 years, and I think one of the great sayings that we have here in the business of franchising is you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that really highlights you, Lily. You're a franchise business coach, which all of our franchise owners are assigned. And if you could tell us a little bit more about just the scope, broad view, what you do, how you assist our owners, because, most of our owners, they're first-time business owners. So they don't have business experience, and they're really looking for somebody to provide guidance. So talk to us a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. So you hit the nail on the head. A lot of our franchise partners are first-time business owners, so that's where I come in. I come in and provide that structure for them, help them throughout their, figure out their systems, their processes, their operations, all the while just offering extreme support to them.
Right. And that's invaluable, right? Because they haven't done it before. And it's more than just starting like a new job, right? It's a new career. And so for many of them, they need this to work. I find that sometimes you're getting guidance in different franchise systems, not here at the camp, but you're getting guidance or expertise, right, air quotes, from someone who's never done the job. Tell us a little bit more about your background, because it's pretty hefty, right? I have to say, you've been with the camp a long time.
A long time.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit more about that. Help our prospective owners and existing owners understand the value of connecting with you on a regular basis.
Absolutely. And I think that's where the trust is built, because I have done this for a long time. Right. I've been in the camp industry for 10 years. It's been 10 years.
A decade.
But I've done it all. I started off as a client, so I know the business as a client, right, as a member, as a challenger. Mm-hmm. And then I've done every job from front desk to a trainer to management to regional manager. So I know the ins and outs of the business, managed multiple facilities at one point, and now I am blessed to be here supporting our franchise partners in doing exactly what I did in operating a successful studio.
Right, and that's huge. That's really impactful, and that's, you've kind of already walked the path that most franchise owners are trying, right? They need to learn the business, which you did by working all the various positions, and then they want to scale, right? They want to open a second or a third location. And it's a little bit different managing multiple locations. So I think that's really great that you're able to provide that experience and say, hey, when I went from managing one location to two, here are some of the things that are going to come up. When I go from 2 to 3, here are some of the things that are going to come up, right?
Absolutely. And we have partners that are multi-unit owners that with that, like, my experience does come in handy, because how do we operate more than one location, right? So it's literally all about developing the franchise partner, right, into learning everything there is about the business so that they can then take that and develop their team.
Absolutely. And, we say this time and time again, for us, we're looking for partners that want to grow, partners Absolutely. That are growth-oriented, growth-minded. They want to scale the business, because at the end of the day, our business model isn't set up to where you're buying a job. You're supposed to be investing in a business. That really is what franchising is. And so I think it's invaluable to have you there guiding them through that and saying, hey, you're getting too far into the weeds. You have to manage the staff to do that. And really your role as an owner is up here. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. And that's where my role comes into play, meeting with them on a weekly, biweekly, monthly basis, right, depending on where each location is at. I can kind of gauge that and offer the support that is needed for them to be able to operate properly.
Yeah. Well, and that's a great segue. Let's talk about that, right? The KPIs, key performance indicators, that really, I guess, help you assess how the franchise owner is doing. It's almost like a test, right?
Really is.
Are you getting an A, a B, a C, or are you getting a D, right? And so I think it's really important, because if you were just a business owner doing it on your own, you don't know what you don't know, right? And so you wouldn't even know if you were doing things the wrong way. Are you answering the phone properly? Are you setting appointments properly? Are the right number of people showing up? How do you handle a reschedule, a cancel? So let's talk a little bit more about that. You know, what kind of things are you looking at, and where are you providing guidance for the owners and saying, hey, these are some of the things from an owner standpoint you should be looking at to make sure your team is executing. And if you're doing these, you're going to be doing well. What are some of those main KPIs you're looking at?
Yes. So KPIs are huge, especially when I am training and doing these support calls with the management team or the franchise partners. So it's basically a snapshot of their business. I can go in and look at, okay, how many calls through our gym sales portal? What is the quality of the calls?
Right.
How many calls is the studio making?
Right.
Taking that a step further, are these quality calls?
Right.
What's their show ratio like? What's their close ratio like? Their appointments that are setting. So this is like the basis. This is where I can kind of see, without being in the location, how their team is performing. It will tell me everything. So I want to train the partner into seeing these numbers, knowing these numbers on a daily basis, so that they can then take that and make sure that their team is actually doing the systems correctly. Not only with our gym sales and our calls, but also with, hey, how many people are we signing up and retaining?
Right. Right.
So that is huge. That's a huge way for us to know if the location is profiting, if they're retaining these members that they're working so hard to call and get through the door. So that's step one, right? Step two would be, are we retaining them? Are we offering that best customer experience that we are known to provide?
Yeah. And I want to jump back, I want to talk about the sales process as a whole, because it's so easy to say, oh, sales are low. And you just go, oh, well, whatever, right? But I like the way you broke it down, because why are the sales low? Are we getting leads and we're taking too long to call them? Are we setting bad appointments, right? So they're not showing up? Or are we setting these great appointments, people are showing up, and then we're just not executing on the close, right? And showing the value that we provide. So I think it's really important for an owner to not just go, oh man, sales are low. Like, you can actually get through the sales process and say, hey, my team actually just needs more training on making the calls quicker. But if they're making the call within a 20-minute, period versus an hour period, our sales are really high. And I think if you didn't have somebody else pointing you in that direction, you might lose focus of that and just say, wow, sales weren't so great, as opposed to, well, they weren't great in this one step, right? Because it's a process, right?
Absolutely. And then tracking those numbers.
Right.
Understanding that we can't compare just numbers that we don't know. We have to understand where we're at from campaign to campaign. So we can't really compare numbers from a 42-day challenge to a 21-day. Right. They're completely different programs. So we have to compare
apples to apples, right? Yeah. Jinx. No, I think that's a really valuable point too, right? Is, okay, let's compare the same types of sales. And I think if you are a new owner, you may not realize that or even know to kind of look at it that way, right? So I think that's really valuable to have somebody kind of helping to motivate. And then, of course, you can benchmark it against the rest of the system, right? So, if your guys are closing at a 40%, but everybody else in the system's closing at 70%, well, then obviously
work to be done.
That's where the work needs to be done, right? And I think that's invaluable. I think it's also, sometimes people go, oh, well, we're not getting enough leads. And it's like, well, I mean, is that really the case? Are you only closing 20% and you're getting tons of leads? Whereas if you got up to 50 or 60 or 70%, you'd be getting the sales, right, that you needed.
Absolutely. And it's all in building the connections.
Right.
That's what we train on. Connecting first with that lead.
Right.
And then we can educate and coach them into, what we do, and then coming into our facilities. So that's our CEC principle.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what we train on.
Well, and
all
I think,
the time.
But that's important, right? That's what makes the camp different. Is we're connecting with our members, connecting with potential members, right? And I think that that's a really important step, though, too. The Camp Transformation Center is about body transformation, but it's a very positive environment. It's an uplifting, fun experience, right? And so I think it's important that we're, sticking with the CEC and training on that overall to drive those KPIs, right? I think that's going to provide success.
Right. So a location that does both really well, because we know 50% of our business is fitness. It's our programs. It's what we provide, but 50% is us serving people.
Right.
And it comes hand in hand. We can't just do one really good without the other. It has to be both. We have to do both really well. We have to understand our programs and be able to educate and be coaches. I always say, put on your coaching hat. You're the expert. But understanding that person and that everybody's different and that everyone wants to be made feel special, right? So when we do that, that's when our numbers go up, when we understand both concepts.
Right. Well, we talked about this a little bit on our podcast with Arnaldo, right? Creating that memorable customer experience. But this is what makes the camp different, right? And I think we find that the clubs who execute at a high level on this, they really are successful. And for me, I think, fitness is one of those things where everybody needs it, right? So you're selling, air quotes, a product, but everybody needs fitness. No one's going to walk through the door and the doctor's going to go, oh, you're the one that doesn't need fitness in your life, right? Everybody needs fitness. And so we're really kind of assisting them and, coaching them to what program, what options, what we think would be best for them. And I think that that's really important, because to go to the gym, it takes a lot of time out of your day. You know what I mean? You've probably called 2 or 3 days ahead. You've made an appointment. You got up a little bit earlier, packed all your clothes. You can go right from the office, go there, arrive early, get a tour, do the workout, and then stay and discuss my health, what fitness opportunities can be better for me. That's 3 hours out of your day. And so there's really no reason we shouldn't be converting 80, 90% of people, right? And so it's just helping our staff understand that. And then helping, of course, the people who come in, they're shy. They've got some real hesitation because maybe they've tried fitness before and they weren't successful. And so it really is to the benefit of our team to explain how the camp is different. And I'm sure you do a lot of coaching on that, right? So talk to us a little bit about that. How are we coaching the staff in the club to create an experience that when people walk in, they go, oh, I get it. This is why my friend has been hounding me to join the camp. It's completely different than any other fitness program I've tried before.
Yeah, so we have a system in place where everyone that walks through our door, it's our foundation. We are here to make everyone feel special.
Right.
How do we do that? Everyone wants to feel something, whether it be acknowledged, important. There's so many people out there that come with burdens, right? And when they walk through the camp, our job is to make them forget about that. Hey,
right.
For an hour, this is your happy time. This is where you're going to make friends and have fun and work on your fitness. And you're going to feel like you're part of something, like you belong to something. All the while you're getting results. You're with like-minded individuals that are after the same type of goals you are. So a lot of our training is on making people feel important, acknowledged, a sense of belonging. Like we are a fit fam.
Yeah, no. Well, the AFF, right? And I like that you say they'll unplug. You know what I mean? Leave everything else at the door, right? Work is stressful. Life is stressful. Maybe you sat in traffic to get there. It's our job to really make going to the gym the best part of their day. And, I don't know that it's the burpees that are going to do it, but the great music, the uplifting people, the fun interactions, I think that's what's going to do it, right? And for me, when we sit here and we look at the franchise owners who are expanding, opening multiple locations, when you go in there, their team's executing at a very high level in that personal part of fitness. Right?
Absolutely. From the moment you walk in the door, it's like, hey, Kyle.
Well, but I've said this before, I really think we're, in the business of self-esteem, we're self-esteem builders. We want to make people feel good about themselves. That's what the camp does. And I think it's really important to focus on that, right? Because, sure, we could teach you to make a bunch of phone calls. That's great. And you're going to set the appointments and the people are going to show up and then they're not going to sign up, because you're going to rush them through and they're going to go, I've done fitness before. Never mind, right? So you really do have to educate them on how the camp is different. And a big part of that is about how they feel, right?
Showing our passion.
Right.
I think we do a great job at the camp of hiring team members that are passionate about helping others. We're a service-based business, so and people can feel that. People feel that the moment they walk in the door, and we know that when we are trusted, people buy from people they like.
Well, 100%, right? Because you feel like you know them. You feel like they're a friend, right? They're not, Kyle the salesman. Right. Hey, I go there and I shoot the breeze with Kyle before I work out. When I get done, he's asking me how, you know what I mean? So I think that's important. I think it builds loyalty. We had that consultant from ABC, and they were talking about, the average length that a customer stays with the camp versus other, fitness facilities, right? Boutique fitness studios. And I think we're beating them by like 4 or 5 months, so the average person's here a year and a half and they're, 9 months at another facility, right? That's because of how they feel. You know what I mean? We're all priced roughly the same. You're going to get fit probably any place you go, right? But you might not be going because you just don't enjoy it. And that's probably why you're not getting results at the other place, right? You're just not going out of your way to go.
Actually, our CRM company, ABC, does say that we have one of the highest member retention rates that they've ever seen in the industry.
Wow.
So that speaks volumes of who we are, what we do, what we provide. And that's something to be proud of for sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think they have like 43,000 gyms or something inside their system. So it's, it's not like we beat out 10 other people, right? There's thousands of clubs, but they don't understand the human component of fitness, right? You know what I mean? And I think, of course, the boutique industry is a little bit different, but, broad fitness, it can be impersonal. And I think it's really important for studios to understand that their members don't expect that. And so if they're not training their staff on that, right, and they're not listening to their FBCs, people are going to get that feeling and they go, well, I can get it down the street for, $15 a month then, right? And it's important that they see and they feel, I think, the difference, right? When you think about high-performing locations that you're working with, and we're talking about the experience, we're talking about, some of those KPIs. If you had to say, okay, this is, what I'm seeing over and over again from the top performers, give us a little juicy tidbits, right? Right. I'm a prospective owner, I'm thinking about it, or our existing owners are watching it and they go, okay, I hear this over and over again, but this time I'm going to listen, right? What do those top performing clubs need to do in order to be successful?
Just follow the system. Our top, I'm going to say 25 locations. They're on every call we do. We offer various Zoom trainings, whether it be on how to, make calls, how to run the programs. We offer weekly sales chats, weekly training. They're on every call. Right. It doesn't matter if they've, heard it before. I've heard so many times from locations where I see them on these trainings and then I'll text them on the side like, hey, what do you do? You just did this training like a month ago. Right. And I hear this over and over again. Lily, you might say something a little bit different that we might learn from, and we don't want to miss out on that. Sure. Yeah. So yes, we've done the front desk training before, but we might learn something new because you're going to say it a little different. Right. So these top performers, they're really involved in taking advantage of every support call, every chat we do, every webinar, and they're there nonstop. Yeah.
Well, we kind of talked about this before too. It's kind of like a report card, right? And to me, it almost is like the top performing clubs. They're your A+ students, right? They're paying attention in class. They're doing the homework, turning it in on time, right? Yes. They're coming to study hall. You know what I mean? And it's like, dang, man, you're crushing every test. Why are you at study hall? It's because I want to continue to do well. And then you have other owners who have the same opportunity. They get the same material, the same support, and they don't do as well. And then they don't know why, right? Oh, I don't know why I'm not doing as well. And it's like, well, you're the bad student, just to be clear, right? You're the bad student. slap them on the hand a little bit, right?
Right.
But it's never too late.
It's never too late. They could always, and that's the beautiful thing about us at the support center is we're always available.
Yeah,
They can call, text us, message us, hey, let's jump on a call, let's figure it out. That's what we do. We want to, just like, you know, their job is to serve our members, our job here is to serve our franchise partners. And I know I love it when my schedule's full.
Right.
They just go, right? Believe it or not, there's been times where I just, you know, I'm waiting for a Zoom and my FP doesn't show up and I feel dumped. I'm like, where are you? Do you still want to be on my schedule?
Yeah, right. Do you still want to be friends?
Do you still want to be my friend? But I'll tell you what, the top performing locations never miss a call.
That's right. Yeah.
So that's the difference.
Like I said, there are A students, right? Well, let's switch gears a little bit, right? You know, a big part of, I think, running a successful franchise, and of course you'll correct me if I'm wrong, is as you said though, making sure that we're following the systems, right? And the systems are more than just a lead comes in, you make a phone call, you know what I mean? So let's talk a little bit about that, and I hate to use the dirty C word, compliance, right? But there are a number of things that our franchise business coaches have to help everybody through with, right? From the way the club looks, to the atmosphere, to the music. So let's kind of just talk about that, you know, how we do it in person through facility audits, et cetera. Let's help our owners understand a little bit more about that process. What does compliance look like? What does following the systems look like? And let's start with the in-club experience, right? Because sometimes we get in and the experience isn't what it should be, right?
Absolutely.
Well, let's talk about that.
Yes. So we want brand consistency.
Right.
We want our members to get the same experience that they're going to get if they're at a California studio versus if they're at a Florida studio or a Texas, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have to be able to keep that brand consistency, the same feel, the same vibe. Our culture is unique.
Right.
And so when we go into these studios, we have to feel something from the moment we walk in the door. Is the front desk person greeting us?
Right.
Are they sitting down and not even looking up at us? We do train on, hey, our job is to step out of that front desk, greet our members, make sure that, you know, they're made felt something special, acknowledged from the moment they walk in the door. It should be like that across the board.
Yeah.
The music that they play, we do have, you know, our fit radio that we use. It should be used at every studio.
Right. Well, look, hey, look, I can tell you right now, there's some people that don't have the same musical tastes as me, and well, you know, sometimes I got classical on while I'm working. So, you know, but you're right? Like I want to come in, I want it to be a fitness studio. I want to have a fitness vibe. I want someone to say hi to me. And the crazy thing is, every one of our FPs, our franchise partners, has had a negative experience when they've gone to somebody else's business. You know what I mean? Oh, I can't believe they did this. I can't believe the service was so lousy. I can't believe there wasn't a hostess here to greet me. And then sometimes you go into their club and it's like, oh, yeah, we forgot. And it's like, what do you mean you forgot? And then we've got our A students, right? And their staff is there. They're bubbly. They're smiling. It's almost like Disney on steroids, right? Hey, how's your day going, right? But they mean it. And you can tell that those people are so happy to be there. And so I think that might sometimes be an area that's overlooked, right?
100%. Yeah, and not even just with our staff and our team members, how they are and make us feel, but what is the overall appearance of the studio? That's huge.
Yeah.
I believe our members are so valuable to us, and they deserve the best experience from not only us, but from a clean facility, from a facility that they're proud to take pictures of. You know, we want the same kind of environment across the board, down to the offices. How do the offices look like? Is it somewhere where I want to bring someone in and have a conversation with, do a member appointment on nutrition with? All these things are huge to the success of the club. And so that's what we look for, is overall appearance. Are they in compliance with our brand standards, what we stand for, and keeping the brand consistency for sure.
Well, and I mean, again, but that's the consistency of the experience, right? is making sure that we've got great staff, as you said, that the building is clean, the equipment looks organized. And, for me, I always just walk in and, and there's clubs that I go to that are executing at a very high level. I love it. And I go, if I had to, I would pay you for this, right?
It's like, wow, I get it.
Yeah, I get it. I would pay to be here, right? When I go over to the Chino location, which is a corporate facility, but it's always excellently, operating. You got Ontario Ranch, again, a franchise club there. I go there and I love it, right? I love being there. And so, I would pay my money to be there. And I think all franchise owners should, really kind of get a second set of eyes and say, hey, if I didn't own this place, would I pay to come here, right? And if the answer is no, then you're probably not in compliance. You probably need to connect with your FBC, you know what I mean? And if you haven't, scheduled your quarterly visit, you need to get them out there and have them looking at the place, right?
Absolutely.
I think that's really important. And, consistency, because those are the easy parts, you know what I mean? Like the easy part is having friendly staff and having a clean club, right? Then you've got to work a little bit harder to connect with people and develop relationships, right? What do you think a franchise partner needs to do in order to maintain retention, right? Because I think that's kind of an overlooked part of profitability. A lot of times we focus on marketing, new members, and it's like, dang, that costs money. Whereas just saying hi to somebody is free, right, in the grand scheme of things. And that can keep a member there an extra month, an extra 2 months, right? So as an FBC, how are you guiding the existing owners on retention, right? What are some of the key points there?
Results, Kyle. We got to ensure that our members are getting the results that they're signing up to get.
Right.
We are a transformation center. We are hugely known for our 6-week challenges, now our 42-day programs.
Right.
And we have to make sure that the follow-through is there from our team. So training them on, okay, what's the next step? You're done with this program? Let's talk about it. What's the next step into your fitness journey? What is that going to look like? Right. Realistically, what do we have to do to get you there at your pace? We want to literally set that timeline for each member. But if we forget about them, we can't retain them.
Yeah. Well, I like what you said, the fitness journey. Because whether you come in on the 42-day transformation, a 21-day program, or you come in on a membership, right? Your goals day 1, month 1 are very different from your goals day 1, month 6, day 1, month 12, year 2.
Change.
They evolve, right?
They evolve. They get stronger. We never want to see a member coming in at day 1, checking up on them maybe month 6, and then them stay the same or regress. That's not what we want to see.
Yeah. You have to be involved.
You have to be involved.
Yeah. And I think that is important, right? What are some of the strategies that we coach the staff owners on as far as staying involved? How do they stay connected to the members? Because, some of them, again, they're listening now and they say, well, we're, anybody, right? And considering franchising. How do I do that? How is that scalable as we go from 100 members to 200 to 400? Heck, we got clubs that have 800 members, right? That are just crushing it. How do we do that with the retention? What do we coach on?
Yeah, we have a Camp on Demand app.
Oh, okay.
So that is a huge retention tool that we train on. Everyone's on their phones.
Right.
With our app, we're able to check in on their nutrition. They get to log in their food. It's like a one-stop. We are a one-stop shop.
Right.
That app, our trainers, our management team can go on there and really see what each individual member is doing and check up on them. Right. You can even schedule like a video chat with them. So there's no excuse, whether it's in person, through an app, through social media. We definitely have systems in place to check up on our members.
Yeah, and it just takes the effort. You know what 100%. I mean? The systems are there. They're being coached on it. And again, it's such an easy tool to retain an existing member. A 30, second or a 3-minute video chat costs you way less than running a month worth of Facebook ads to bring somebody in, right? And so it's like, it's better use of everybody's time. And again, it's results-based, right? The camp is going to get you results and also continue with you through that journey as your goals evolve. And they're going to make sure that you keep getting results, which I think is huge.
and just utilizing the tools that we provide. The camp has so many great tools, and we train on every single one. So you're never alone.
Right. Yeah.
Our FPs, our managers, they're never alone. We are here. We provide the tools. They just have to follow through and apply extreme action to their studios.
Yeah, well, extreme action. I like that a lot. I like that term.
You have to. You can't. And here's the thing. It's funny. I say that because I train on this every week, and I'll ask, like, okay, who applied what they learned last week? And it's like, cricket. We hear from the same people.
Right,
Our
right.
A+ students.
That's right. The A+ students. A for extreme action, right? Yeah.
Yes. So it's literally taking what you're learning, the material, the tools, and taking it to your facility and applying those efforts so that our members are taken care of.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it doesn't do any good to sit on the call and then not do it, right? And so I think that's, important. If we go up a level, right? Because obviously there's things that the staff has to do at a staff level, right? So when you're consulting the franchise partner and saying, okay, hey, this is the best way to, at a high level, manage a staff of 1 or 2 or 3 locations, how do we give them advice on doing that? How often should they connect with the staff? How should they be checking in on if the staff's happy? Like, give us some feedback there.
Definitely. It all comes down to your communication with your management team, with the overall team. I work really closely with Andrew Cruz's teams, and he is a great example of managing multiple facilities. And I like to kind of use him as an example because he meets with his team on a weekly basis, sometimes 2, 3 times a week, and they still do training with me.
Right. And for those of us listening, Andrew was on an earlier episode of the podcast, and he broke down that schedule. And it's I don't want to use the word intense or insane, right? But I mean, he's committed to checking in with his staff on a regular basis. And he's got like a real strategy behind it. It's not just a random, well, I'll call them, maybe on a Tuesday or a Thursday. It's like, on Monday, I call these people. On Tuesday, I'll call these people. On Wednesday, I meet with these people. On Thursday, I meet with these people. But I think that's what you want, right? It's got to be systemized. And, humans, people, are the new commodity, the new resource in any business, right? And so I think it's really worthwhile to check in on them regularly and make sure that they're happy.
Absolutely.
What are their goals? Or do they feel like they're growing? Is their career going somewhere? Are they getting the skills that they want, right? Because, a happy employee is going to stay longer, right? And some of these places, they've had, the same directors, same trainers for years, 5 years, 10 years, right? And so, if an owner is listening now and having those challenges, it could be, high staff turnover is what we're talking about. It could be that they're not, systematically checking in with their staff to ensure that they're happy working there. Absolutely. It's that simple, I think,
and
right?
wanting the best for them.
Right. I like that.
Yeah. I believe that if you truly want the best for your team, for your staff, that you're giving them the proper guidance and leadership, then they're gonna work hard for you. They're gonna want to execute at a high level because they have a leader who's, developing them, checking up on them, making sure that they're, meeting their goals, not only in business but in life. And that's something that I've seen done with some of our,
top performers, right?
Performers.
Yeah. But that makes sense, right? And I think that's why they're top performers, because they have a motivated staff who wants to get in there. They want to make the calls. They want to follow the systems. They want happy members because they love where they're at. And I think people see that, right? When you go in, you can see where people are happy. Okay, so we've covered a lot of different topics, but I think, at the end of the day, FBC, I'm meeting with you weekly. I want to know I'm making some money off of this. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? So, ultimately, let's talk about that, right? Because profitability means a lot of different things, but it also means I can pay the staff more, right? I can offer more services, upgrades to the facility, which in turn benefits the members. So, ultimately, at the end of the day, the business has to make money. So let's kind of talk about profitability and, how we dig into, again, because a lot of our owners, they're first-time business owners. So how do we look at, the finances and ultimately say the business is doing well? Right? Because if sales are going up, but expenses are going up, you may may not be making any money, right? So let's talk about that. You know, what kind of financial guidance are our owners getting and support, right? Because again, a lot of them probably haven't done it before.
Yes. So I do work with our FPs on their P&L, so their profits and losses.
Right.
I'll check, what their break even is. That's huge.
Right.
That's huge for me to know and understand so that I can then help them make that profit. So,
well, and I don't want to cut you off, but I got to tell you, I've spoken to a couple of them. I go, well, what's the break even? And they go, well, I'll get back to you. And I'm like, holy shoot, you don't know that right then? You know what I mean? So I think that that's really important that you're bringing that to the forefront, right? And saying, hey, we need to look at this on day one and then make sure we're on top of it every month.
Yes. Yeah. And I do have a spreadsheet because I have heard, I don't know. Okay, well, let's work on it right now. Take out let's work on some numbers.
Right. Let's add up the numbers.
Let's do it right now together. So it's, some have it, some don't. If they don't, then we work on it. And I will teach them how to keep up with that, making sure that they are, at least making their break even, if not working towards that profit margin. Right. So that's super important. I take that very serious because, I'm their coach. I want to see growth.
Right.
I want to see that they're successful. If they're successful, then, that makes me happy. And it makes me feel that I'm actually making a difference in their studio.
That you're adding value.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%. Well, and I think, we say it all the time at corporate office, know your numbers, right? And it's not just the financial numbers. I find that high-performing clubs, if you go, how many leads did you get last month? They know. How many new members did you sign up? They know, right? They know the important stuff, even if you're not in the building day to day, especially if you own 2 or 3 clubs. You can't be in every one of them every day, every hour, right? Let's talk about that, though. So we're looking at profitability. What other numbers, and I gave a few away, but what other numbers does an owner need to know, right?
They need to know their membership base.
Yeah.
For sure. How many members does their studio have? Their attrition rate.
Yeah.
That's huge. So I check that all the time. How many members are not staying? That's huge. However, industry-wide, 10%, anything above 10% is,
right.
Us at the camp, we're averaging about 6% attrition. So
wow.
We are retaining.
Yeah, doing very well.
Very well.
Overall, right?
Overall.
Yeah, overall.
Yeah.
Some studios could do better, and some are probably well below that. I think top-performing studios are probably at, 3% if I had to guess, right? But I think that's important, right, is know the membership base, because that's really the beauty of a health and fitness business, right, is the reoccurring monthly memberships. And ideally, those would cover payroll, rent, some of the other really big expenses.
100%.
And then, the supplemental additional sales, right, that we have through the other items, would lead to profitability, right? So I think that that's pretty interesting that sometimes people don't know those numbers, right? And they're not keeping an eye on it.
Yeah. So knowing those numbers is huge. Also, their conversion rates. How many of these, people that sign up on a program are converting into a membership? That's also a big indicator of if our studios are being successful or if we need to work on a little bit more training, because we know that people will stay where they feel supported, where they're getting the results. And if someone signs up on a program and they're not converting into a membership, that's an indicator that they're not getting the experience.
Right.
Because they don't see the value in signing up for a membership.
Right.
So knowing those conversion numbers is huge.
Yeah. And I think that's a good call out. You know what I mean? If you're getting a ton of people signing up for the different 21-day programs, right? The detox, keto, summer, whatever, right? And you're not getting the conversions, the experience is off, right? You're not showing them the value. Look, they signed up, means they're interested. They came in, means they're interested. They did 21 days, means they're interested, right? They want to be fit. It's up to you to help them get there, I think, right? And so I think that's a really good call out, right? Same thing with the 42-day transformation or really anything. If you see that you're not having the same retention and the same conversion rates as the averages, you got to start to look at, what's going on inside the building. I think that's a good one. Let's talk about because I think the camp is, well, I don't think, I know, the camp is pretty unique when we talk about, and we're kind of talking about it now anyway, the various revenue streams, right? For again, those of us who are, wanting to be a franchise owner or a business owner or existing owners now, I think sometimes they're not maximizing the different revenue streams, right? We've talked about membership. We've talked about the 42-day transformation. We've talked about the various 21-day programs, right? But there's other ways to make money. And there's other programs that benefit the membership base, benefit the owner, and benefit the club as a whole. So I think supplements
Absolutely. That's
is a big
huge.
one, right?
Huge. And we do training on that as well.
Yeah.
So that's another point that makes us super unique, is that we have our own supplement line.
That's right.
Like, who else does that?
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to get Allison on here, right?
We'll
Yeah.
figure
Well, I
that
mean,
out,
nobody to the
but-
scale that we are, right? We'll have to get Allison on, but I want to say last time I checked in, whether we got like 80, 90 different SKUs, right? And the last research I did on it, I want to say it was 59% of adults are taking supplements, right? 36% of adolescents are taking supplements. And that's at least one,
ever.
right?
I feel like our youth is now more aware of
Right.
being healthy, being fit, and we're seeing members that are younger and younger. I was at a studio this week, and we had, I think it's a group of 4 high school girls or 4 seniors
Right.
that all came in and signed up on the 21-day program. They want to do it together. 17, 18-year-olds.
Right on.
Coming into the studio to sign up on the program. So we're definitely seeing a younger population of kids, of
Right.
young adults
Yeah.
coming in to the fitness industry, and they love their supplements. They took a package home.
Yeah, there you
They
go,
got
right?
their BCAAs and glutamine and protein.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that, again, that's just another thing that our FBCs are able to provide guidance on. There's additional training that we do provide guidance on. But that's a real revenue driver for you, right? And if they're not, the point I was making is we know they're taking it. So if your supplement sales are low or non-existent, your members are just buying it someplace else, which again means you're not doing a good job of presenting that as part of the experience, or you're not doing a good job of connecting with your members and saying, hey, are you sore? You should be taking some BCAAs for recovery. Hey, when you show up to the gym, are you tired from a long day at work? You should be taking pre-workout, right, to give you energy and focus and some mental clarity. And so I think that's an area where we provide a lot of help and a lot of training on. And I think the big message is to educate the staff, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we know that they're going to feel sore.
Right.
And that's
Exactly.
what we say. We know that they're going to feel sore. They might feel tired. Maybe they need a little bit more energy.
Right.
So we know these things. Why not educate them from the very beginning and coach them into these products?
Yeah, yeah. And, sometimes people just have busy work days. There's days where I get up and I got to get right in the car, so it's like, okay, that's where your protein shakes come in. That's where your greens come in, right? And so, I think it's whenever I see a location that's kind of struggling, I'm like, well, man, your supplement sales are, 10% of what the average is doing, and maybe even only 5% of what top performing clubs are doing, right? So it's just another way that our team's able to look at something. And again, if you were doing this by yourself, you would just say, oh, the supplement market's probably flat right now. That's why my sales aren't good. But it's somebody else 3 miles, 6 miles down the road with the same business model as you, with the same teacher as you, right? And the A student, right, is executing on that. And so I think it's really important for, owners to kind of, again, look at the different revenue streams and saying, okay, yes, am I getting the right amount of revenue from the monthly reoccurring membership? Am I getting the right amount of revenue from my specialty programs? That's what I always say, right? So your 42-day and 21-day, right? Am I getting the right amount of money in from supplements? And then I think also it's, the apparel, right? Am I getting the right amount of money in from the apparel? And more importantly, the apparel is... That's right. Everybody's got their camp gear on. It's free marketing and advertising. And I think
People
sometimes,
love to wear it.
and they're going to buy workout clothes anyway, right? So they're going to buy workout clothes from Amazon or Target or you. So if they're passionate about the brand and you're providing the right customer experience, the stuff's going to sell itself. It's great, right? And so I think that's probably another area where you're providing some coaching, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We do track those product sales as well.
And should people be tracking that, you think, bi-monthly, every month? What's the best way to stay on top of those trends?
Monthly,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Especially when we have new supplements that are, we're always bringing new flavors in or new merch. So those are the times where, we definitely want to see high sales.
Right. And I think probably the other area that we haven't touched upon yet too is the elite training, right? And again, to me, it's such a no-brainer because look, at the camp, people are known for losing massive amounts of weight, 20, 40, 60, 80 pounds, 100 pounds, right? After that, inevitably, air quotes, I want to tone up.
What's next?
Yeah, right? What's next? What is part of my fitness journey? And so they want to get involved in strength training. They have different goals, right? And so I think it's really important for the owner to recognize that and say, okay, I got to make sure that we have elite training going on, because if they're not doing it there, they're doing it someplace else.
And they will.
So they will.
Why not provide that?
They will.
In our studios where they could take it up a notch, maybe do a little bit more lifting, focus on toning,
right?
Focus on their strength. They don't need to lose the weight anymore. We've already done that with the start of the forces. So now we got something else for you. Now let's focus on your strength, building your strength up and getting that nice lean muscle. So that's definitely a huge area of opportunity, and for our trainers as well to get more hours and more income.
And be around the facility more. Then they get to interact with the staff more. People get to ask them more questions. They get to give more guidance. So, it's one of those kind of like feedback loops where, it keeps helping everybody, right? It helps the trainers out, helps the staff out, helps the facility grow, helps the culture, because, people see the same faces, the same members all the time, right? So, I think that ultimately the benefit of having an FBC is somebody who can guide you, help you navigate the very tricky industry of fitness. I mean, look, I've been doing it 20 years. You've been doing it for, 15, 20 years too, right? So it's like, okay, we get it. But for someone who's new, I think they want that guidance. They want that reassurance. They want to know that someone like Lily is going to be there to walk them through it, that you've done it successfully before, and not just once. You've done it over and over and over again. Yeah. And so that's really important. Let's talk a little bit, because you've been doing this and you're good at it. Let's talk a little bit about some of the success stories, right? Who can we highlight here in 2023 and say, wow, I'm working with these people and, they're either, they were doing great and they've just continued to do better, or, hey, they were kind of hovering middle of the pack and we've just seen, boom, like a real escalation in success.
See that smile on my
face? I do. I know. You're thinking, oh my God, who can I give high praise to?
I mean, all the FPs I work with are amazing. And they've, I've seen them succeed and, get their numbers up. Mm-hmm. One that I'm particularly super proud of would be Freddie and the team out in Costa Mesa.
Okay.
They have done amazing. I started working with them about a year ago.
Okay.
And literally watching them, just take everything from our weekly to biweekly calls and applying into extreme action.
I was hoping we'd work that in here. Extreme action had to be worked in.
But they just, that team is just a great example of doing that. Mm-hmm. They went from being a 30K average location to now they're hitting numbers at 60.
Wow.
60K.
Wow.
They are now
well above the AUV.
Yeah,
well
way above the AUV. So they're now able to relocate Little Costa Mesa because they're, shoebox location, tiny studio.
Yeah.
And they are completely relocating. They got, bigger facility. They're in the process of doing that. And I'm just so proud of their efforts. Extremely proud. But I do strongly believe that they would have not been able to do that had they not followed the system.
Right.
They're one of my A+ students.
Yeah, there you go.
They're on every call. They're on every training. They're, listen to the webinars, and they ask questions. Mm-hmm. Not only do they ask questions, not necessarily on a Zoom. They're, messaging me, Lily, what do you think about this?
Right.
We're here, it's the end of the month. What should we do to generate more revenue? Do you have any ideas?
Right.
And it's like, boom, boom, boom. And they do it. And then they're updating me. I mean, Freddie, Ricky, and Jesse, they're updating me every week. Well, this is where we're at. Oh my gosh, we're gonna hit these numbers, Lily. And there's not a week that goes by that I don't hear that from them.
Right. Well, the team there's killer, number one.
They are.
But I agree with you. I got a chance to hang out with them at convention, and it's like they're firing on all cylinders, right? Social media game on point.
On point.
And members love that. Members love to be in the videos that they're creating. They love to be tagged in the Facebook posts. Like, people love that, right? I think I said this before. The sweetest name is your own name, right? The funnest thing you can watch on social media is yourself, and then your gym. They're like, that's high praise, right? Hey, I made the video cut today, right? So that's pretty cool, right? I mean, they're doing that. They're showing up on the calls. The mindset 180, right? I mean, these guys are really thinking expansion and growth. They got a brand new location coming, right? It's double, yeah. Maybe even a little bit more size the other one, right? Easy to get to, tons of parking, real upgrade again, that's just a benefit to the members, right? Their high success is now rewarding all of the members at the club, right? Which the members are super fired up about. And I think that, that's what we want for all of our franchise partners, right?
Absolutely. And they take advantage of all the programs.
Right.
I mean, they max out on all the specialty programs,
right.
Elite training. Mm-hmm. Every single one of their trainers have an elite team.
Right.
And they all take the products.
Mm-hmm.
They're true ambassadors of the camp.
Well, if you're going to talk about it, be about it, right? I mean, practice what you preach. So, you got to be doing it and be genuine about it, right? And they all work out there too. I see Freddie in all the videos. I see all the trainers. Classes. Yeah, I see everybody's taking everybody's class. So, I mean, it's like they're really building a great community there. Before we go, anybody else? One more. I'll give you one more opportunity for a shout out, high praise. Who else we got?
I have to give Andrew Cruz's team a shout out.
That's cheating. He was on the show. We know he's doing good.
He's amazing. His team's really great too, both teams. And then I am very proud of our San Bernardino location. So they've also taken everything that they've learned and applying. Their location where, just an example, I came in to work with them and they didn't have a system in place to track their numbers. They didn't know control sheets and things like that, where now it's like, oh, we get on a call and they know exactly what their numbers are. Like, Lily, we updated our goals. They made the top 25 last month.
Oh, right on. Very good. Okay.
I'm super proud of them. They've been, kind of the middle of our rankings, but they definitely shot up last month, and I'm very proud of them.
Well, top 25 is a big deal. I mean, 120 open locations, probably 130, 35 by the end of the year. So to make the top 25 is no small feat. And the next time you're on here, I want an update, and I better hear they're in the top 10.
Yes.
Okay, that's goal. I gave everybody a thing to do here, right? Everybody got homework now because of Lily. So we want to hear, big progress from them. It was great having you on today. I think that, again, the big takeaway is that when you're part of the Camp Transformation Center's, franchisees, right, one of our FPs, that you're not doing it by yourself, right? There's someone there to help and guide you every step of the way with a ton of experience, right? Someone who's done the job before, providing actual feedback, extreme action ideas, right? That's important. Things that you can really put to use inside of the club to drive success, to drive revenue, and ultimately grow your business, right? I mean, I think that's what we want. If you had to, again, sum it up, quick highlight, because this is the end here now, okay? What should franchise partners, owners be doing to maximize success?
Participate in all our trainings and take advantage of our support.
Excellent.
110,000%.
Yep. Be active. Be engaged, right? Be engaged with your business the way you want your staff to be engaged with the members.
Absolutely.
Outstanding. Lily, it was great having you on here. We really appreciate your time today, and we look forward to having you on again.